Have you ever suffered from procrastination? Well, if so, you want to make sure to stay with me to the end here, because this is going to help you so much. You see, we procrastinate because we are picturing the work we have in front of us and think that it's going to take a lot of effort. Or then we do it because we are unsure of ourselves and we don't know if what we are about to do is going to turn out well. Or we procrastinate because we think that the task is going to be scary or just in some way make us feel uncomfortable. So now that we understand all of that, we can now take a look at a few smart ways to help us get around this. Number 1, don't make the gap too wide. So what do I mean by this? Well, here's an example. If you start your day by instantly picking up your phone and start scrolling on social media, you are feeding yourself with a lot of cheap dopamine. Doing that is going to make it harder for you to do something that takes effort afterwards. Why? Because you increased the gap. Think of it this way. If you eat junk food all day long, then how much would you look forward to eating just a plain boring salad when the night time comes? The more you feed yourself with stimulating things prior to your work, the more boring your work will feel, because it pales in comparison to that highly dopaminergic activity you were just doing. This is what I mean when I say that you increase the gap. So avoid your phone as much as possible until the later part of your day. I personally don't allow myself to enjoy any digital recreation at all until I have at least done a good chunk of my daily work. And let me tell you, it makes a night and day difference. Number 2, use Jim Kwik's formula. The brain expert Jim Kwik has a cool little formula for getting stuff done. And here it is. P times E times S3. P stands for purpose. You have to be crystal clear on why you are doing what you are doing. And not only that, in order to fuel your motivation, you have to remind yourself of that reason. But purpose alone is not enough. You might have all the purpose in the world, but still not be motivated if you don't have the E, which stands for energy. If you're depleted, or if you didn't sleep well, or if you just ate a big unhealthy meal, you are not going to have the proper energy to get you going. It sounds so simple, but do not underestimate this. I mean, just think about it. Energy is what drives things forward. And if you want to reduce your procrastination, you need to make sure you're taking care of your health to have proper energy. And this E component is just another reason for why you want to stay away from cheap dopamine things, because they sap you of energy. So you see how everything comes together here. Now, you can have purpose and high amounts of energy, but still procrastinate because you feel overwhelmed by what's in front of you. It's too intimidating, it's too confusing, or whatever. And here's the thing. A confused mind won't do anything. This is where the 3S enter the picture. It stands for simple, small steps. Break your task into the most simple step you can think of and just attack that first step. And then you just keep going with the other small steps. It's amazing how much you can chunk up a task when you think of it. And whenever you feel overwhelmed, this is exactly what you need to do. Number 3, read at night. Okay, so this one might sound surprising to you, but hear me out here. I live more and less dopamine healthy in periods over the year, and recently I again started turning off all technology in my house 2 hours prior to bedtime. And once again, I was amazed by how much more energy and drive I have the following day because of that, compared to periods where I just mindlessly scroll online. Did you know that by shutting things down, you actually help to refill the readily available pool of dopamine you have in your brain, so that the following day you literally have more fuel in your motivation tank? Yes. Now, this one is a bit related to tip number 1 that we started with, but it is still not the same, because by reading a book and being mindful the last hours of the day, you actually increase your serotonin serotonin levels as well. And they will then help to reset your dopamine during the night. That's what serotonin can do. So you will have a higher baseline level of dopamine the following day in a good way. Because as you remember, dopamine is the very motivation and drive chemical. And as if that wasn't enough, if you avoid looking at the screen 2 hours before bed, your sleep quality will of course be so much better as well. Which will then of course help you with your energy levels the following day. Which, as you remember, is a component in Jim's very formula for motivation here. P times E times S3. And if you really want to skyrocket your productivity, then you should know that nothing has boosted my own productivity like implementing different dopamine fasting protocols throughout my year. Yes, and if this is something that you are interested in learning more about, then you can read about my dopamine focused fasting online course by clicking on the screen right here or by using the link under the video. And if you're struggling to stay away from those dopamine draining adult sites, and that's your biggest problem, then take a look at a video I made a while back where I share how I overcame that problem myself right here. Just click on that and I'll see you over there.